Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Two stakes races on tap at beautiful Belmont Park on Saturday. We'll kick things off with race number 8, the Floral Park Stakes, going 6 furlongs on the inner turf for fillies and mares. You can bet this race, you can bet this card with a DRF Bets account. Sign up at bets.drf.com and receive a 300% deposit match. Here's the field for the $100,000 Floral Park. Again, we're going 6 furlongs on the inner turf, and we were expecting the morning line favorite to scratch. The number 3, Lady Alexandra, is cross-centered in the Arctic at Woodbine, and it is expected that she's going to run there, which means favoritism likely to go towards the outside, and that is the rock-solid number 10, Lull, trained by Christophe Clement, closing in on $1 million in earnings. Here's the catch. If the ground is soft and it's rained a lot in New York on Thursday, Lull will scratch as well. Yeah,
I mean, almost no chance that it's not going to be something well south of firm on Saturday, so maybe we'll see her, maybe we won't. If we do see her, Dan, I do think she's the horse to beat. I do think she's a good horse. It's funny because I always felt like she was better sprinting, and now when I look at her, I think she might be better going about a mile or so. I don't know. Her last 2 races in particular, I know that they were in graded stakes races. I know she's dropping in class for this. I don't love her last 2 races.
She's rock solid, though. I mean, listen, she usually brings her A game to these races, but I'm with you. At a relatively short price, and if Lady Alexandra scratches, she's going to be the favorite in this race. I'm not sure I really love her, especially if the ground is less than firm and they do decide to run. Let's talk about some lightly raced horses trained by Jonathan Thomas, who just seems to excel with his turf runners, no matter what the distance. He's got 2 in here with similar styles. The 6, Tilly's Lily, the 7, Orequiet. Tilly's Lily won the first 4 starts of her career, then she got sick, then she threw an absolute fit in the paddock at Saratoga before the Smart and Fancy Stakes. Then she didn't break. Then she rushed into a fast pace and she paid the price. So a lot of things haven't gone right since June, but when things were going right, she was good. And as we see from the Timeform US Pace Projector, she's likely to be up and on the lead.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that everything's okay with her and assuming she breaks this time, she did get bumped at the start of that Smart and Fancy. They just sort of took her out of her game. If she can get out of the gate this time, you know, maybe she's just right up there on the pace by herself. I think she's good. I also think those 2 races, and I know they're separated by a layoff, so I don't want to be too hard on her. The October race at Santa Anita down the hill, and then she came back on June 1st at Belmont. Just absolutely loose on the lead in those races. I mean, nobody anywhere near her. She had all the best of it both times, and yes, she won impressively, but I guess that's what you do when you have the best trip in the race. I think she's good, Dan. I don't love her at a short price. I would be using her in this race, though.
I think there's a chance, though, that she could sneak away to the lead again.
I agree.
Because, again, visit timeformus.com after scratches. It's going to change if Lull is out. And remember, Thomas also trains the 7, Orequiet, a reformed claimer who's probably not as fast as Tilly's Lily. And even if she is, I kind of doubt that Dylan Davis is going to duel the stablemate into the ground. So Orequiet might be sitting second in this early portion, and that could help Tilly's Lily. I like the way Orequiet won last time out at Belmont over Good Going. I thought that was a really weak allowance field.
Yeah, all those things are things that I agree with. She has speed. I don't think she can make the lead in this race. I respect the form that she's been in for Jonathan Thomas lately, but I don't think any of those races, you know, make her a serious threat in this race. We'll see.
We have several horses coming out of the Sensible Lady Stakes at Laurel on September the 22nd, run over yielding turf, which could be key in handicapping this Florals Park Stakes. There was a very fast pace on tap, if you believe the Timeform US color-coded pace ratings, and Fire Key came from next to last to get up at a big price to beat 3 of these for trainer Pat Kelly. Not sure she's going to get that kind of setup here, but she's got a solid horse.
Yeah, and doesn't need that kind of setup anyway. The thing that you like about her is she's so versatile. If they go fast in front of her, she will sit back and make a run like she did last time. And that pace did seem like it was pretty fast. You say she came from next to last, compelled to was second by nose, came from actually last, and Fear No Evil is also in this race, was sort of off the pace as well. It's set up well for them. But Fire Key doesn't need that kind of trip to run her race, and she's very underrated. She has been so dirtied up leading into that race last time at Laurel, with all these things working against her in New York. Soft turf, a spill in front of her in the Smart and Fancy, and off the turf race. She's a lot better than she looks on paper.
I think Fear No Evil, though, does need that kind of trip, though. I think when she is close to the pace, it's usually because the fractions are so slow that she can't help but be close. And last time out, she was in mid-pack and she came with a run. She ran just fine. I'd like to see her do it again, but she's going to be a good price at 12 to 1 for David Cohen.
Yeah, not going to knock knock her. It feels like she'll be a big price. And I do think she's in good form right now. I just don't know if she's this good.
Another one that needs pace coming out of the Sensible Lady is Always Thinking, and she's always been a one-run late closer. I don't think she really cared for the yielding ground. It just didn't seem like she kicked in that race, but I'm getting to the point with Always Thinking where I'm getting a little bit tired of her act. She usually picks up a piece, if at all.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you. To me, you know, I think they maybe tried to get her a little too close to the pace last time. I felt similarly about the license fee back in April, where they sort of got her into mid-pack, like they didn't want to get outrun with her. I think they should go back to those tactics. Just let her get outrun and make one run from off the pace, because I think that's when she's at her best.
Can you make the argument that the fourth place finisher in the Sensible Lady, the rail horse Rocky Policy, ran every bit as well as the horse that won Fire Key, because she was close to that fast pace? She actually took it over in the stretch, and then she was run down late. And if you actually go back through her form, stakes winner, 2 starts back at 6, beat a couple of nice Maryland-bred horses in that race. And she gave Morticia all she could handle, coming off a long layoff at Penn. And that filly's okay at 5, 5.5. Yeah. I think Rocky Policy can work out a trip here under Daniel Centeno at 20 to 1 on the line. She's usable.
Yeah, that's why I threw her in. I mean, I think it's going to be hard for her to win this race. You know, it gets, when you start just picking apart her turf sprints on her page, I mean, they're basically all good. She is 1 for 14 in her life on turf, and that's a real problem. But I think she gets a trip in this race. She'll be a good price. I got to use her somewhere. How
much does the post affect the 12 Black Canary? Because I think she did some good things last time out over Yielding Going. I thought that was a solid pace. She put that field to bed. Now she's going to have to step up against classier rivals, but I don't think she's that far away. I just think if she's chasing wide, she could be up against it.
Man, it's a really, really tough post for her from the outside with all the speed to her inside. But you're right, it's the turf sprint races for her, if you start really digging into it, they're actually not that bad. She's had some soft trips. And last time, it's worth pointing out, on September 14th, that was the only race they left on the turf that day. It was a really wet turf course, and maybe she just really liked it.
Annie Rax was no match for Black Canary in that race. And going back and watching it and trying to make excuses, I couldn't. If I had to take one of the two, I'd take Black Canary.
Yeah, I would too. I like Annie Rax as a horse. I don't like her in races like this.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Floral Park Stakes, race number 8. We're both going with prices. Let's start with your top selection. The New York bred, the number 2, JC's Shooting Star. She is 20 to 1 on the morning line. She's coming out of the Smart and Fancy Stakes, and what you're supposed to do is take your pen and just draw a line through the Smart and Fancy Stakes, because there was an unfortunate spill in that race that took her out of the game.
Yeah, it totally compromised her, and she wasn't the only one. There were other horses in that race, but she was trying to close. The horse went wrong in front of her, and she just lost all chance about midway on the turn. So don't hold that race against her. Don't hold the race 2 back against her, where they came off the turf and on a speed favoring track, and even don't hold the race 3 back against her, where she just kept her. I think they kept her in behind horses a little bit too long. She actually ran at the end of that race. They've only started concentrating on turf sprints with her last November in that race at Aqueduct, and she crushed that field. She came back off the layup. She ran really well behind Lady Alexandra when she freaked in the license fee, and then she won again on June 20th with a big outside run. I think this is what she's wanted to do all along, that she's gotten a lot better as a turf sprinter. She should have some pace in this race, and she'll be a price.
20 to 1 on the morning line. Mike's going 2-6-1-8. I think Battle Join still has some upside. Really well-bred daughter of Warfront. She's only started 7 times. Mark Hennig's had a very nice meet at Belmont. This horse has shown speed for most of her career, but she was just out-sprinted in the Smart and Fancy. When you go sub-21, sub-44, she just couldn't get into the game early. She was slightly affected when that horse went wrong. She steadied a bit on the turn, but what I did like, and I know the pace was fast and she was supposed to do some running, was that she did kick a little bit in the stretch. And now I think if there are some key scratches, she can revert to being closer to the pace without being a need-the-lead type. Again, she finished ahead of 3 of these rivals in that Smart and Fancy. I think she can take a step forward for Henning at a price. 12 to 1 on the line. Pablo Fragoso takes them out.
I can see it. I didn't like, she'd won her 2 starts prior to the Smart and Fancy. I didn't really like either one of those races that much, but she's almost won me over in the Smart and Fancy, because she did run a lot better in that race. I still don't love her in this race, Dan, but she's a good price. And I'm with you. I do think she's getting better.
You're going to go 2, 6, 1, and 8. I'm going to go 8, 10, 5, and 11 in the Floral Park. 100 grander, one of 2 stakes races at Belmont on Saturday. Bet them both with DRF bets. You know the drill. Bets.drf.com. 300% deposit match is yours. Deposit 50, bet with 200. Approximate post time for the Floral Park, 4:43 Eastern. Good luck.